And I don't think I really got to put the top on. Alrighty, I think this thing is the best pedal, the best pressure, the best this has ever felt, ever. When you clean stuff, you find stuff. So Deal Brothers are working on the Better Half Camaro, and they said, send me a bass tune for this because I think we're going to be starting it up in a week or so. All right, but before we can go testing, I've literally maintenanced it and, you know, ran fuel through it and got the methanol out of it. And it's just been sitting here since 6 summer. Because the last thing you saw on that very last pass, and the reason why we didn't go out for a second pass is the master cylinder failed. Doug Cook was there. He goes, you need to change the master cylinder. He goes, let me go get one. He runs over to the Motion Raceworks truck and he grabs a strange master cylinder, and I go to put it in the car and it don't fit. So we were done, all right? But he goes, okay, this is exactly what you need to do. So Doug's down there measuring all my linkage angles and everything. He says, nope, all your ratio is really good. He says, because it already has a Willwood master cylinder in it. He says, Willwood has a good master cylinder with a bigger bore. He says, I don't have one with me. He says, just go to Willwood, get one. So I have the new bigger bore master cylinder, and we're gonna be putting this thing in so I can actually stop, because on that last pass, going, how many mile an hour did we go? It was 667. It was low mile an hour because I had a lot of power out of it.
210 something maybe?
Oh yeah, it was way low mile an hour because I had it really soft. I hit the brakes and it went boop, 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 right to the floor. I have come to the conclusion that it's a way better feeling having brakes and no parachutes than it is having parachutes and no brakes. But because we put enough parachute on the car now to stop the car, it saved my bacon because there was no brakes, and that's why I went to the long end of the shutdown and had to turn it around up there. We're gonna start putting on this and bleed the brakes properly. I think this larger bore, because this is a 1 1/16" bore from the 7/8 bore that was on it. So all you brake guys, and this is what Doug told me to do, and it makes sense. And then I looked up some stuff on it, so it makes sense with volume of the whole system and how we need to brake pedal, blah 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 blah. And it had a 7/8 one on it, and it was always questionable. And then all of a sudden it popped the seal, flipped the seal backwards, or flipped the seal around internally. We did take it apart and find that, but it was way too late to go make a pass. And then I really didn't feel comfortable making a pass because I've lost the brakes in this car a couple times doing the exact thing. So that's why we're just changing. So let's get this done, then we'll go testing. So talk about more things that you have to do in order just to go to the racetrack. So I have my NHRA license to drive the car. I've gone through the physical, and the doctor has filled out the form wrong twice. So NHRA keeps on kicking it back to me, and then I have to physically go drive down over to the doctor's office, go, hey, you still got to sign here. And the last one is he has to print his name so they can read it. And they're making me redo this whole freaking thing. At least I don't have to redo the physical, but they're making me waste all this time just to go over there. So it is now 9 o'clock in the morning. The first thing that I had already was get here at 7:30, talk to Kyle for a minute, talk to the guys for a minute, start running some stuff, go out, hot tank don't work. I'm trying to diagnose the hot tank, waiting for a phone call for there. While I'm waiting for a phone call to fix the hot tank, because the hot tank don't work, I might as well go take care of this license because it's gonna expire in 2 weeks. And once it expires, then they make you do everything all over again. So that's gonna screw me. So all the things you gotta do just in order to go test and go race your car. So first things first, we're going to bench bleed the master cylinder. There we go, with the little master cylinder kit that's in there. I'm all by myself today, thinking about going testing tonight. We'll see. So let's get this thing on the, I got to put this all in. So I'm gonna turn the camera around here and we'll go from there. All right, now this is like right out of my normal wheel well, but it all makes sense. You're gonna bleed all the air out of this master cylinder, but then you take the lines off of it and then it still seems like it gets air in there, but I guess it doesn't get air in there from the, I guess it wouldn't get air in there from the bleeder. So as you see here, this is probably basic 101 for almost everybody here, but for those that's not, might as well show you what's all going on here. So let's look right down in it like that. All right. So let's look down in it right like that. These are this little piston that goes up or back and forth in here, which moves the fluid, which makes your pressure. So you're gonna see here that this is going to, you put the lines back in here because when you push the brake pedal in, it pushes fluid out. You see those bubbles? But when you let go and let off the pedal, it actually sucks whatever's on the other side back, forth. So like in the brakes, fluid's going forward, backward, forward, backward, forward, backward. And if there's an air leak or something in there, it goes forward, sucks air, forward, sucks air, and then does bad things. So you'll see here, that was pretty quick because I've already done this just a little bit before I got with you guys. And you're getting all the air out of there, so it's just making nice, clean movement of fluid. No bubbles or anything like that. And that's really good. All right, that was easy. All right, so we're done with bleeding the master cylinder. Before we bleed and put this all together in the car for the brakes. So now let's go over to the car and take the old one out and get going. All right, so there's the old master cylinder. And all the line lock stuff, front brake, rear brake. So I'll take these lines off here. I'll show you some stuff here as I get the master cylinder off. I gotta take these lines off first. I hooked the two lines together just so it was blocking that. And that's gonna go like there. It actually looks like I better take these fittings out first. It just kept sitting here dripping all over me, and I don't think I really got to put the top on. Yeah, baby. Okay, it just freaking figures. All right, get these hooked up. Not tight. Freaking sucks. Over here. Over here. No. So, there's actually it's already putting about, because the foot pedal's all the way back here, and it's putting about an 1/8 inch of pedal into it. I think an 1/8 inch of pedal was okay. That way it's always got a little bit of pressure on it, I guess. That at least partially makes sense to me. I guess because what I'd have to do is like figure out the perfect amount of Jim, this little push rod here is pretty well stationary. Yeah, so it's about 1/8 of a pedal. I think that's okay. If it's not okay, I guess you guys can tell me. All right, so there's that. Now let's tighten up my lines here. All right, that is in. Let's clean all this up and I'll go over it with you. All right, so here is the new master cylinder. Okay, these are anti-flowback check valve. I think they have like 2 psi in them, 1.5, 2 psi. It's just an anti-flowback valve. So I think that's kind of interesting. That should be right. Doug Cook at Motion Raceworks figured out all my calculations on all my pivot, leverage points, everything. Said, nope, you're really good. That looks great. Said, cool. All right, I just needed a bigger bore master cylinder. And that's what we're doing. So let me go top this thing off with fluid. And we're gonna have to get this thing up in the air and bleed the brakes. Shoot, forgot all about that. So I had to put the car up in the air so I can get to all the brake bleeders, because the rear brake bleeders are way up inside the wheel and impossible to get. So I had to take the rear quarters off the car, which, remember, mine are just Zeus button right on. Can't even tell. And then front off of the car so I can just make everything easier. And then I had to get my number one. There she is. All right, so we're just gonna be bleeding brakes here. You should be seeing, you'll see these are the big Mark Williams, the Mega 12-inch rear end, 12-inch modular billet rear end. It's pretty fantastic. And we'll start working on bleeding everything, get that all done, and we'll come back and probably get the wheels on. I think we're just gonna go through and start servicing everything, because I haven't done anything since 6 summer. So we brought the car in. So the car just went 667, real low, only 4 pound or 40 pounds boost. So low boost, super rich, no timing. And so I'm really happy with that. That's fine. The brakes went out. Put it in the garage. Haven't done anything since. So that's what we're doing right here. That was after running up there at 6 summer. So I'm just gonna go through and do all the maintenance and do a couple little things I wanna check on. And but first, we gotta handle this brake stuff before we go testing. Alrighty. Pump it. Okay, hold it down. Not super hard, just hold it down. Are you feeling the pedal go down any?
Yes, I am.
Okay, pump it. Oh, that feels good. For this race car, that feels good. Okay, wife just doesn't know how bad it was before. Didn't know how bad it was before. All right, so I think we're pretty good, so we're gonna continue on. All right, it feels like Christmas, because the MotorHome is finally repaired. So if everybody asked about it because it was mass chaos, let's go pick it up. And as I'm driving it, get it back here, I'll show you the whole deal. But it feels really bad to want to go down and pay the bill to get my MotorHome back. But hey, it actually ended up, believe it or not, it probably ended up being about $10,000 less than I thought it was going to be. So it's a weird sense of, I don't know. But hey, we're gonna go pick it up. Alrighty, I got the keys. So this whole deal, turns out it was a transmission voltage doubler. All right, so the transmission has to run on 24 volts. Well, it's only a 12-volt system. So it has a literal box about the size of your Holley EFI box that literally just doubles the voltage for all the electronics in the transmission. So apparently this is problematic on the Meritor transmission. Didn't know that before I bought it, obviously. What it does is it shorted out internally, whatever, I don't know, not electronics guy, don't care, don't really even want to know anymore. And it fried that out, and fried out the TCU, so the transmission control unit also. Freaking cool. So then it's a long-term cluster customer thing, but we haven't even showed you the MotorHome yet. So, well, let me get this thing back home, and then we'll just go a quick drive through. But so currently, this is how this has gone. We bought this 2007 MotorHome because it only had 50,000 miles on it. It was absolutely mint, never used for race car stuff. Thought, cool, awesome. We're gonna not have any problems. The one thing I want in life is just not have any problems. That's all I want. I just don't want to work on stuff. I have too many things to work on. I got race cars to work on. I don't want to have any problems with getting it to the racetrack. Drove it home from the dealer that we bought it at. It was fine. Basically, we drove it up to mid-Michigan for one trip, which was like 100 miles. And then we went for the trip to Six Summer, and it broke down there in Gary, Indiana. Go back there and you can see that one. That was great. A $3,000 tow bill to get it from Gary, Indiana up here to Michigan at the shop that just did this for us. And I thank them. I think they did a nice job. They were warrantying their work, so that's cool. So K&R Truck Sales, we'll give you guys a little bit of a plug. They're nice. They treated me well. Took a little longer because it's old enough that there's a lot of data that's just not out there, believe it or not, for a Freightliner. Side story. But $7,000, $7,300 later, the MotorHome is fixed. $3,000 tow bill, and I never made it through one official trip yet. So, anyways, enough whining, moaning. It's first world problems. I understand that, and I appreciate that. But it's time to get going, and I'll give you the tour of the MotorHome to show you. I mean, it really is a beautiful MotorHome. Very, very happy to have it. Proud to have it. Worked a long time and saved up for a long time to get something like this. Even used, old like it is, 2007. But it's still sweet. All right, let me show you the debacle of the MotorHome debacle. All right, that's what I'm forever calling it. It's forever now known as the MotorHome debacle. Yeah. Anyways, 45 foot. It's got the Mercedes engine, but what the deal is it has this Meritor transmission, which is the problem. I'm trying to haul race cars, and now it looks like we're always going to be hauling 2 race cars, and realistically, we're probably going to be hauling 3 race cars. So we'd gotten this thing, everything was great. It was black on the inside. As you know, it dies going into Gary, Indiana on 94, 5 lanes wide. I'm in the middle lane, and the transmission gives it up. Not the mechanical part of the transmission, but I knew it was the electronic part of the transmission. Turns out there's a problem with these transmissions. They're deleted, outdated, because this is older unit. Nobody works on them anymore. It's kind of a struggle finding parts, but we did find them. So the thing's dead. It gets pulled off to the truck stop in Gary, Indiana. The record guy, I said, hey, I got to get these race cars to the racetrack because Six Summer is starting tomorrow. So can you unhook the trailer from the MotorHome so I can come over and grab the trailer with something else? I'll grab it with something or have somebody come pick it up for me or whatever. And he goes, yeah, okay, you can do that, but do not leave this trailer here unattended because you'll come back and there won't be any cars in it and all the wheels will be off of it. It's exactly what he told me. And he was dead serious. He goes, don't leave it here unattended. So, oh my gosh. So Kyle comes down, grabs me. We go so I can go up and grab my old motorhome that I had sold but hadn't gotten picked up yet. So I could come down and grab it, take it to the racetrack. So I left my wife and my daughter here in a toter home with a butter knife and a fork to defend the race cars and themselves. So they stayed in here. Wife couldn't sleep all night because she's worried about it now because she heard the record driver say it too, but there was nothing I could do about it. So I drove all the way home 2.5 hours, drove all the way back 2.5 hours, picked it up, and then just left right for the racetrack. But before that, so we're trying to fix it, right? The wrecker takes it to the truck stop, and we're looking online, and I'm figuring out all the things. We're figuring out what it probably is. I'm hoping that it is a wire that is become disconnected or something is weird, because it just, boom, shut off. It wasn't anything led up to it. It just stopped. So let me show you what I had to do. And we saved up and worked a long time to keep on building up from a truck and an open trailer, a truck and an enclosed trailer, a truck and a bigger enclosed trailer, to a motorhome and enclosed trailer, to then a motorhome and then a small stacker trailer, and then now the toter home and this toter home and a bigger stacker trailer. Just years of building up to this, right? And so then we're in there. You can see the carpet is all mint, right? Everything is all cool. And then I see that online they say, oh, there's this access panel and you can access the voltage doubler, because it ended up being a voltage problem. So the voltage doubler, you can access that, and it might have wire out or something like that, and you can test it right there. So I go, okay, cool. Well, how do I get to there? It's right here in the middle of the floor. So with the butter knife that I left my wife, I had to cut the goddamn carpet and padding to get to that access panel, because I didn't have the tools, didn't have everything here to pull all the seats out, the dash, and pull all the carpet back just to access that. So on the emergency roadside fix, to get this access panel out, to be able to see all the electronics that are sitting right there, I had to cut brand new, well, not brand new, it's actually almost 20-year-old carpet, but had to cut 20-year-old carpet. Nice carpet with my freaking butter knife. It was just a debacle. But I think, Lord willing, we are now at a spot where hopefully we are not going to have any more toter home trailer debacles. We can continue on. So now let's get to the racetrack and do some testing. Well, I've not made the testing today, but that isn't that big a deal because I had this thing just, sitting here from nothing. Absolutely from like made a last pass at 6 summer after doing all the drive, doing everything, didn't make any maintenance, didn't even look at anything, just put it here and was thinking about going testing. That wouldn't really been that good a thing to do. And this brake thing is bothering me. It's still not right. This great big master cylinder should be better than this. It's better, but it still doesn't bleed up right. I'm not happy with it. Remember me saying it had that 1/8 inch of like already pre-charged pedal? I'm gonna move that. I don't think it needs that. It should not need that. I don't think it needs as much as that. So I'm gonna take this Heim joint out. So all I gotta do is just take this bolt out. It's already loose too, I didn't even see that. Take this Heim joint out, and I'm gonna shorten my little plunger rod and keep shortening it until it's got tension on it, because this cannot go any further back. See, this is actually got to stop right there. It cannot go any further back. So it can't go any further back than that, and it has got some plunger there. In fact, I'm gonna take it out and I'm gonna show you exactly how much it is. And then as I have time to just stand here, this is interesting, because as I have time to just stand here thinking about the car and thinking about stuff, it's like, what? This thing always maintains a little bit of brake pressure going down track. That ain't cool. That ain't right. And I'm thinking, oh, maybe it's this blue plunger. Let me look at the data log. Let me look at it live. Let's look at this live. Okay, so I put turn on the car. Car's all powered up. Okay, and that's on. And what do I, lo and behold, I see? The thing's up in the air. Brake pressure, 15 pounds. Brake pressure, 15 pounds. Now, let's take this out right here. And it's got pressure on it, for sure. And it's been like this for freaking ever, and it just has not dawned on me. Car pushes like a freaking tractor with a plow on it. And this one might be a little bit worse, but it's always maintained brake pressure, and I thought it was something else. Oh, see that? Now that's after I bled it all like that. Oh, see that? Now it's still got brake pressure 12 pounds. 12.8 pounds. Okay. Huh. All right. Let's see here. All right. All right, so this is the plunger. It's right there. Yeah, you can see it's about 1/8 of an inch. So, but I could shorten that up pretty easily. Have it still never come out of the pocket. Everything would be good. This can't get pulled back anyways, and I'll give it just a little bit extra to be sure. And then I'm gonna be figuring out what is going on there. It still has 13 pounds. I thought it was gonna fix it right there. But you look here. See, that's better than what it just was. The front rotors, just grabbing them by here. Oh, this is tight. This one's still tight, but it ends up getting looser. All right. Let us see what's going on. I wonder now, are these check valves, anti-flowback valves? Is there something wrong? Let's check it out. Alrighty. So here, I totally disconnected. The brake line is totally disconnected. And it does feed through the line lock. And it is still at 12.8, 12.4 pounds. So now, this should be just pass through. So I'm going to disconnect it here. Well, no, I think I'll just take the sensor out and then give that a whirl. So I'll just take the sensor out right here, and it should just go to 0.
Something like Alan Farm that barely makes $300. You can't like clutch kick in 4th gear around the corner and expect it to actually go.
All right, let's just see if it's a sensor problem. Maybe it's just a sensor problem. But the front wheels turn like crap. Oh yeah, must be a sensor problem. All right. So the sensor's totally unhooked. And it is still 12 pounds. All right, so there's a scaling problem with the sensor, or something's going on with the sensor. All right, good to know, good to know. So I'm still gonna work on this plunger and see if that gives me a better pedal feel. And then I did get just for kicks and giggles, I did get a Mighty Vac bleeder kit. Even though I think it's pretty good, I think maybe it's just the pedal, that pedal bar, or pedal, sorry, that little plunger. There we go. So I'm gonna get in there and take that out and just kind of grind it down a little bit, and keep getting it till it fits in there really nice. That's not very much. Let me get on the bigger grinder. So I'm trying to get it rounded because the cup that's there is round.
There you go. Thank you. Maybe that will do better. Right there. We'll see, because I got to sneak up on it. I don't want it to get too short, because once it gets too short,
I can't make it longer again. All right, so that's in the plunger, and it is, yeah, now it's still about 100 short. So I'm gonna, or 100 long. So I'm gonna go in there and clearance it up some more. Now I got it. And you can see here now it's not as dramatic an angle as it looks like here. Now that is in the plunger right there. Remember how far that popped out? It's still got just a little bit, just about that much pressure on it. About 25, 30 thousandths, I would figure. Now I think this should, well, this will definitely increase my stroke range. You saw how far it popped out. And we're just I'm gonna re-zero out the gauge or the sensor. And that is good and tight. Cannot pull it back, cannot pull it out of there. Oop. Better put my sensor back in there. All right, sensor is out. I've re-zeroed that, or I've zeroed out that sensor. It's at 0.4. Now I'm gonna put it on, put it in, and then go back after re-bleeding this brake with the Mighty Vac. All right, everything's all hooked up. I've not bled this yet. Static. It has 3 pounds still in it. Let's go see what it feels like in the front rotor. Yeah, I mean that's no rolly. And now we can see here, if I apply brake pressure with my hand, which is exactly what I was doing. That's just for kicks and giggles, just to see what this does. Let's just release pressure right here. Yes, there is pressure in it. Let's see if this rolls over any better. Yeah, it does. All right. Let me think this thing through. Now, what I did here is I actually took the spring and plunger out of the check valve. It's a 2 PSI check valve, and I'm just experimenting here with it because given what, Doug had me do this, and it was the right thing to do because I think the whole system was just wrong, and so we were trying something here to see what it would do. And so now, because the master cylinder is very low, and it actually is lower than the rear calipers, and was thinking there might be a drain back issue or some kind of thing going on there, which that's why you put those in there. But just out of kicks and giggles, I wanted to do this. Now we are 0, and if I hit brake pressure, come back down, goes back down to 0. All right, so let's see what it feels like out here, or looks like. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Oh yeah, that's pretty free. Interesting, but that totally makes sense. That just totally makes sense. Yep. All right, totally makes sense. Now the back will have just a slight bit of pressure on it too. So we're just talking like 2 pounds, 3 pounds. Well, it was registering 4. Of course, right now it's at 0.8, so that would be 1, so it'd be 3. So I think everything is actually working exactly the way it should be, but I don't think I need that. I really don't think I actually need the drain back valves now that I have the right master cylinder on it, the right size. And Doug helped me out with that, so thank you, Motion Raceworks. They're doing this all correctly. And then I just fixed this, so now I have more pedal. I mean, that is fantastically good right there. Like, really good. I didn't even bleed it yet. So now I'm gonna bleed it. All right, so one of the things that my sugar mama has been on me about for quite a long time is says, oh, we need to get something so the parachute cords don't accidentally get caught underneath this plate, because this used to have just this aluminum plate, okay? And this aluminum plate would go right here. And it would have about, that nut right there, it'd have about that much room underneath it. So what would happen, and I had it happen twice to me, is you tack the parachute in there, everything's great, the chutes deploy, and somehow, some way, the cord kind of got underneath this. And if the cord or anything gets wrapped underneath this, okay, this bracketry here does not stand a chance against the parachute. It'll tear the bracketry right off the car. It bends my launchers and all that other stuff. So we got these great carbon fiber launchers. So exactly the same. So it goes whoosh, launches the parachute, but it never had a chance to get anything underneath it right from the beginning. So it kicks it right out, and hopefully will prevent, since they make this specifically for this, prevent cords from getting wrapped around. So one more thing we upgraded. Alrighty, I think this thing is the best pedal, the best pressure, the best this has ever felt, ever, period. Like, forever. Never has been better. Never was better brand new, never was better ever. So let's, I fixed that little plunger thing. I think that probably has been a little bit of a problem all the time. It is absolutely in there, will not come out, so I'm happy without that. I could just put the boot on there. I see there's a boot, but not really. I think I will put the boot on it. I'll take that off, I'll put the boot on it. But I wanted to show you for instance, this is after a 230 mile an hour pass, okay? This was when I had the old chutes on it, so I'm on the brakes hard as I could be without having any problem with it. The most I've ever seen is in this 400, never made, it was like 490 right there. 93, yeah, 97, basically 500 pounds. Pretty much as hard as I could get it, all right? Basically not seen, I went back and looked at a couple other logs, even like staging the car and like putting brakes on to stop it right there, you know, after burnout or whatever. Never seen anything over 500, and that's not like panic braking or anything like that. So I'm not going to panic brake this, but I'm going to just show what we can get up to. I don't know yet. All right. So I'm just going to apply pedal pressure. All right. 273. Oh, there's 600. No. 700.
I think that's enough.
I think that's enough. I mean, and that's just me pressing hard. Like, I need to stop the car after making a pass. So I think that is significantly better. And what I had seen here, the 667 pass. So right here, 667, 109. This is my max brake pressure. This was the panic brake pressure, 490s, right there, and then it went down to boom. Ooh, all the way out. So I hit the brake pedal. This is a one little hit, then I hit it again and held it, and it just went boom, went away. Hit brake for exactly 2 seconds at 200 plus mile an hour. So thankfully the pursuits are big enough, but I think this is significantly better. I've never had that pedal in this car ever. So I think this has been effed up from the beginning. So I think feels good. I mean, it feels good. Let's see what it's at right there. And this is just and it goes right back down. And now I know, before you do this, I know I did not do anything with the rear brakes. I just went back there, checked it, and the rear rotor is like loose. Even when I didn't do anything with the check valve, I'm gonna leave that one there because I think that's the one that is the problem, because the master cylinder is actually lower than what the caliper is. So it's below the caliper. So I'm gonna leave that one exactly where it is. The front ones are not actually below the caliper. I'm sorry, the master cylinder is not below the calipers, the front calipers, only the rear calipers. So I'm gonna leave that one, and it's obviously it's about 2 pounds. Took the ones out of the front rotors feel good. Let's hit the brakes here. You can see here, this is measuring just front brake pressure. I mean, that's just hitting it hard. If I go harder, there's 800. And it doesn't never get to the back, to the bottom. What do you think, Kyle?
I think that will stop the car better than
I think that's gonna stop the car.
400 pounds for 2 seconds.
It's gonna stop the car better than 400 pounds and 500 pounds. I'm positive this thing's never had more than 500 pounds, period. So as far back, that one pass I was showing you where 230, that was a couple years ago. So I mean, it's been like this and that was when brakes were working good and the parachutes were just undersized. So I was on the brake a lot. In fact, I was on the brake the whole time that it was shutting down. But anyways, all right, that's cool. Now onward to new seat belts. I have 7-point seat belts that we're gonna put in here. Not gonna bother showing you that. But these 7-point seat belts come up somehow and wrap around your leg or something. Instead of having just a single crotch strap right here, it's got the crotch strap and then a strap that comes around here and then a strap that comes around here. I guess in case something's gonna slip out. I don't know. Whatever. But anyways, you gotta have it. It's mandated. So I'm gonna put those in, and then we're just gonna go through. And now that I've taken a little bit of time, just gonna go through the rest of the car and just clean up stuff. And as I'm cleaning stuff, I love to clean things. If you don't have a dirty car or it looks like crap, how do you know something's not bad? Some random thing. When I go through and I wipe everything down and I touch everything, you find a wire, you find a fitting, you find a bolt, you find anything. When you clean stuff, you find stuff. I see that could be a
T-shirt idea.
T-shirt idea. When you clean stuff, you find stuff. So keep your stuff clean. So I'm gonna go through and just start cleaning this up and just go through everything, nut and bolt, and I'm going to get this thing 100% ready, because the ultimate goal here from here forward is we do not go to the racetrack until it is ready to race. We do not go to the racetrack and work on it. Not at all. Nothing.
Do what the pros do.
Do what the pros do. Do not go to the racetrack unless the car goes out of the trailer and goes on the track. Period. Guess we can put fuel in it and air the tires up, but that's it. Goes to the track. Nothing else. That is the goal. All right, so next day I come back and I'm all happy about my brake pedal, and I go ah, yeah, sweet, man. I go like this, which this still has great brake. I mean, that is like rock solid brake pressure. But anyways, I go like this, and I let go and it doesn't come back. I go, oh, what the heck? And then I'm trying to figure things out. Well, you see me spill all that freaking brake fluid in there, so I'm cleaning all this all up. And I've never actually torn this all apart before. But what this is there's a lock bolt right here. And my buddy Jamie Gelding's over here and he's helping me, and there's this lock bolt here. And then there's threads on the end of this shaft right here, because I've never figured out how this all comes apart anyways. So, you know, you got all these pedals on this shaft that's suspended. And he goes, oh, there's probably bearings in here, in this tube. I go, oh, really? So we take this bolt out, and we put a threaded bolt here, and I pull this whole shaft out, and lo and behold, this whole pedal assembly just comes right out in your hand, just sitting here. And there is roller bearing here, and a roller bearing there. And when I've cleaned this over the last few years, and especially this last time I cleaned it, it actually was kind of crudded up and was nasty and was actually sticking. So now you do this, look at that. It's like super free, ding. And now we put it all back together, lubed up those whole bearings, everything in there. So that's done. Now we are really good. You know, it's like instantaneous pressure, more pressure than I've ever had before. And you could come over here and wing, I just hit the brake pedal. You saw me doing it. Wing, it looks nice. Now the back one obviously is a little harder to do because it's hooked to a rear end, but you know, like this is just a little backlash in the spline. That's normal. You're going to have that in anything, a little bit of wiggle, and it's, there's no pressure on it. So super cool there. Now we got to get after the engine side maintenance of everything. And then we've also got the kids down here cleaning all the rubber out and then wiping everything down. And this is a big point that I try to make with people is if your race car is a dirty piece of crap, it probably is a dirty piece of crap. How about that? Because the reason why I've wiped things down and cleaned things up is and we just did this after 6 summer here. One of the reasons why we haven't gotten back out to go yet real quick, besides all the other obvious reasons, is that I want to touch everything. And when you're touching stuff and wiping things down, cleaning it up, you find things that are loose, you find things that are broke, you find things that might be anything. So I got the kids all down here, everybody's, they're wiping every tube down, and I'm very specific. Touch every tube, wipe every panel, underneath the car, inside the car, scrape all the rubber off, just touch everything, because I want to see if anything's broken or got a crack or could be going away. Because what you'll find, and this is no offense to people with 10-second cars, because we got a 10-second, 9-second car over there, okay? 9-second car. That kind of car, if something breaks or fails, 99.9% of the time, it's really not that big a deal. If something fails chassis-wise in a car like this, or these kind of cars that are 6-second, 5-second cars, just get killed. Okay, if this thing. So for instance, the car has got the front tires up in the air. It is not steering. If everything is not perfect in the rear end for the first 300 to plus feet, almost eighth miles, almost for first eighth mile, the front end is never touching the ground. It is not steering, it's not doing anything, so the chassis has to be perfect. What happens if there's something broke up here and it goes kook? It goes boom right in the guardrail, okay? Or any of those kind of things. A hose comes off, anything, it oils down, or fuel or whatever gets underneath the tire. So it is very important that this stuff is all right. So make sure you clean your stuff, wipe everything down, look for anything that's going on, cracks. And everybody that has a car like this typically knows this. But I'm just telling you all these things because it's not like you just decide to go, oh, let's go to the races. It's just not that way. Ain't it, Nate?
Nope.
You see how we have to do this stuff. So let's get after, and then I'm just going to do general engine maintenance and just check stuff out and just make sure everything's okay. Everything, it just made a good pass. It probably would have been perfectly fine. If it wouldn't have been for the brakes, I would have gone out and made another pass. But when you're in the middle of these races, you're not able to check every individual thing. But when we're here, it's just smart to just check everything. And that's what we're doing. So check everything over before we get out. Now looking like next week, hopefully do some testing. Was trying to do it this week, but this is already Thursday. By the time you're watching this video, it's 100 freaking degrees outside. It's pointless. So I think we're just gonna wait till next week and get to go out and do some more testing with it. I think we'll take Kyle's car. He's got some good stuff coming up with Blueberry, with the blue Mustang. And I think we'll have Caitlin racing the Sugar Mama car. See if we can get a little deeper into the 9s for her. So she'll be pretty excited about that. So back at the engine stuff. So back to trying to do some maintenance on the car before we're getting ready to test. Like I said, it looks like we're going to do some testing next week, I think. I hope covers come off. And now one of the things that I'm just going to do real quick is I'm also just going to check valve spring pressure. So we're going to check valve spring pressure. Now you have to do that on a rocker arm that is obviously not compressed. And what I'm doing is just verifying where that rocker or where that spring is at. There we go. That we don't have any kind of issue or anything kind of weird going on. Okay. Making sure where we're at. This is what you would call a closed pressure. So that just means it's exactly as it sounds. It's closed. Because I can't really check it on the open side. And this one is hard to get into. There we go. That one's a little bit on the lower side, 480-ish. Let's see if any of the other ones do that. Go back to this one. Because I did it with a turned deal. Let's see if it Yep. Okay. Now let's go over here. That back one is a real bugger to get. Usually can't get it. I'm gonna have to come up with a different tool or something different to do that one. So I'm gonna come back and I'll come back and I'll hit this one. Usually, if they're not broke, they're all right. All right. Now let's check our exhaust. That's all right. Empty. Ooh, that was low. I'm gonna have to come in and check that one out. That's less than 300. So that one, that's interesting. And then this exhaust. That one's got a lot. So this one exhaust I need to actually take a look at. So we'll come in there and I'm not even going to take a look at it. I'm just going to replace it. Now, an interesting thing coming up is we're actually in talks with and going to go do Spintron work on valve train dynamics, because these things never hurt valve springs racing. 9,000 RPM, don't care. 9,500 RPM, don't care. 2,500 RPM, seems to care. So there's going to be some really cool stuff that's going to be coming up in a couple months. So I'm just kind of laying the groundwork there. It's pretty interesting. So I know I got one bad spring right here I'm going to change, and we'll go over on the other side and I'll start working on that. And just going through this thing to make sure that everything's right before we go out and making our pass. This thing being down there in that 280 range is like bare bones minimum. It probably would be fine to run it, but I need to check all these things. So anyways, I'm going to change this thing and then change that thing, go over to the other side. Then I'll come in and lash it. So after I lash it, check all the valve springs, this thing will be ready to go engine-wise. Everything's good, but you just need to check this stuff so you can find something like that. All right, so we're gonna keep on keeping on. There you go. There we go. Oh, aha! There's why that spring was weak, right there. I couldn't see the inside. I checked all the other ones, and we're definitely going to be coming up with what the French toast is going on here. All right, I'm gonna button this thing up, but here's what's going on. Got it all figured out. We are going to the PDRA race, which is really cool. Go look up PDRA racing. It's 8th mile racing, but it's like all the fastest pro mod cars, period. Fastest pro mod cars go to PDRA races. Very cool. Looking forward to it. And it's right here in Martin, Michigan. So we're going to be testing on Thursday, which is the 31st, and trying to qualify and race on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I think it is. I think it's just Friday, Saturday. I think it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. But anyways, US 131 Motorsports Park, Michigan, PDR race. If you want to come, hang out, whatever, that's all cool. We're going to be there with the wagon because it's going to be perfect track conditions. It's going to be all the same kind of cars. It's going to be great testing. I got people coming with me to help out, so it's going to be cool. So make sure you're there. Now, we're also plugging away at the old Deal Brothers with the Better Half Camaro. In fact, so much so that they said, can you start writing up a bass tune for this thing? Because we're getting pretty close, probably here within a week or so of starting it. All right, so that's cool. So I got to go over and start working on that. All right, so the Better Half Camaro has Holley EFI. So we kind of have this thing split up. that I have Fuel Tech. The wife has Holly now, and the better half Camaro. Caitlin has Fuel Tech, and Kyle has Holly.
2 and 2.
Yeah, so we're 2 and 2. And Dewey has no EFI, he's still carbureted. Anyways, so what I need to do here is we're writing up a base tune, and Kevin did give me a complete pin map because this is about 95% wired. So he gave me a pin map of where all the things are all at. So I have to associate a whole bunch of pins in the pin map, input, output selection. So all of these things here, I need to start associating, getting these all populated with what they need to be at. So inputs, outputs, and so I have to come in here and do all the configuration and then just write a basic tune. Well, I have tunes, for fuel, air, spark, so that's not that big a deal. But the bigger deal is trying to get all this stuff figured out for all the pin maps and to make sure everything works. When you do this, it does that, and blah, 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 blah. Okay? So now, so I'm going to send this over to him, and I got to send him over torque converter bolts. So I got to send him over the torque converter bolts and some oils. So let's pack up the box and get this thing sent out to him.